You were born for something greater. There's a voice inside you whispering this isn't all you were made for. You feel it when you're alone, that restlessness, that ache. Not because you're weak, but because somewhere along the way you forgot who the hell you are. Life broke you. People lied to you. Dreams faded. And now you're living in a version of yourself that doesn't even feel real. But listen to me. You were never meant to live small, silent, or scared. You were born for something greater, something bigger than this pain, bigger than your past. And deep down you know it. You just need someone to remind you. So here it is. Wake up. The world is waiting on the real you. 1. The echo of emptiness. Have you ever looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back? Not because your face has changed, but because your soul feels distant, like it packed up and left a long time ago. There's a silent ache most people carry. Not loud enough to scream, just loud enough to haunt. It shows up at 2 a.m. when you're wide awake, questioning everything. It whispers during meetings, meals, conversations. Is this it? This life you're living, is it really yours? You were taught to survive, not to live. To silence your voice, follow the rules, play it safe. And so you did. You checked all the boxes: school, job, relationship, responsibilities. You became everything the world told you to be, and in the process, you lost who you were meant to become. This is the echo of emptiness, a quiet soul-numbing pain that comes when your daily existence doesn't align with your deeper truth. You smile in photos, you laugh with friends, but inside there's a hunger no one sees, a whisper that says, I was made for more. And the world? It doesn't slow down to let you catch your breath. You bury the feeling under distractions, numbing routines, and the false comfort of fitting in. But here's the truth no one tells you. You can't outrun the ache of unlived potential. It follows you. In traffic, at dinner, in the silence between texts, in the weight of your own breathing. That emptiness isn't weakness. It's not failure. It's a signal, a sacred reminder that your soul didn't come here to just go through the motions. You weren't born to wake up, work, scroll, sleep, and repeat. You weren't designed to exist. You were created to ignite. But first, you must face the void inside, because in that void lies power. There is nothing more dangerous than a human who has felt the depth of their emptiness and decided to rise anyway. That's the beginning. That's the birthplace of every transformation. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to remember who you are, underneath all the noise, all the expectations, all the fear. Most people spend their whole lives avoiding this moment, the mirror moment. But if you're still watching, still listening, it means you're not most people. You're not broken. You're breaking through. So let the emptiness speak. Let it burn. Let it awaken something ancient in you. Because on the other side of this hollowness isn't despair, it's clarity. And on the other side of numbness isn't pain, it's purpose. You were born for something greater, and that feeling inside you, it's the beginning of everything. 2. You were not meant to be average. They told you to fit in, to color inside the lines, to be realistic. But let me ask you this. Since when was survival the same as living? Since when did playing small become the standard? You weren't born to be average. That hollow ache you feel, the sense that something is missing, that's not weakness. That's your greatness screaming to be set free. You see, most people mistake rejection, failure, and heartbreak as evidence they're not good enough. But what if I told you the opposite is true? What if those breakdowns aren't a verdict? They're a redirection. A whisper from your higher self saying, you're not supposed to be here. That pain you carry, it's not there to destroy you. It's there to wake you up. Average doesn't require courage. Playing small doesn't take vision. But you've always felt different, haven't you? Like you didn't quite belong in the world everyone else seemed comfortable in. That's not dysfunction. That's alignment waiting to happen. Misalignment with mediocrity. You were born to lead, to heal, to shake the system. And of course life hit you hard because the fire inside you threatens everything that's fake around you. Of course you've been broken because only those destined for something greater are tested at this level. Let this section be your rebellion. A rebellion against settling, against dull routines and empty goals, against the quiet death of ignoring your calling. Look at your pain, not as punishment, but as a marker, a signpost, proof that something powerful is buried beneath the surface, and average cannot contain it. You weren't meant to simply function. You were built to expand, to break chains, to become someone the world has never seen before. And I know you've tried before. Maybe it didn't work. Maybe it hurt. But here's the truth. You didn't fail. You outgrew the version of you that was too small for your potential. That version had to fall apart so the real you could rise. This is the line in the sand. You can keep numbing, hiding, doubting, or you can claim the life that's been waiting for you this entire time. You weren't meant to be average. You were meant to awaken, to lead, to set fire to the path no one else was willing to walk. And the fact that you're still here, after everything, that's your proof. You're not done. You're just beginning. 3. The invisible war. There's a war happening inside you and you didn't even start it. It began the moment the world told you who you were supposed to be. The moment you were taught to sit still, stay quiet, shrink yourself, be realistic. You were handed labels, expectations, and silent rules. Somewhere along the way, without even realizing it, you stopped being you. Not because you chose to, but because survival demanded it. This is the invisible war, the battle between your conditioned self and your true self. One screams in fear, the other whispers in purpose. But the noise of the world made you believe the louder voice was right. So you obeyed. You hid your light. You traded your truth for safety. And every time you did, you handed over a piece of your power. This war isn't fought with fists, it's fought in silence. It's fought when you stare at the ceiling wondering why you feel empty even when everything looks fine. It's fought when you smile in public but break down alone. It's fought every time you talk yourself out of a dream because people like me don't do things like that. The world doesn't chain you with locks, it chains you with beliefs. And those beliefs, they're not yours. They were planted by pain, by rejection, by people who gave up on their own dreams and taught you to do the same. They told you to be humble, but what they meant was small. They told you to be grateful, but what they meant was silent. They told you to stop chasing too much, but what they meant was stay where I can recognize you. But here's the truth no one told you. You're not crazy. You're conflicted. Because deep inside you, there's a part that remembers. A part that knows you were born for more than this cycle of self-doubt, guilt, and quiet suffering. That part is your destiny calling you home. And that's why the pain feels so loud, because it's trying to wake you up. What if your suffering wasn't punishment, but preparation? What if every moment you were broken was breaking open something greater? You've been fighting a war within you, not because you're weak, but because you're powerful. And the world fears what's inside of you if you ever fully claim it. But now the question is no longer, why am I like this? The real question is, what would happen if I stopped obeying the fear and started answering the whisper? Because the battle doesn't end by avoiding the war. It ends when you remember who you were before the world told you who to be. For the moment everything changes, there comes a moment, and maybe this is yours, when you look at your life and whisper, this can't be it. Not out of entitlement, but exhaustion. Exhaustion from wearing the masks. Exhaustion from pretending you're okay. Exhaustion from living a version of life that fits everyone else's idea of normal, but suffocates your soul. This is the moment when the illusion shatters. The moment when the noise goes silent long enough for you to feel the truth, that you've been surviving, not living. That the pain you've carried isn't proof of your failure, but a signal. A warning that you've drifted too far from who you were meant to be. It hits hard, like looking in the mirror and finally seeing the stranger staring back. And suddenly, you stop blaming the world. You stop numbing. You stop hiding behind the excuses and the some days. And you say it, no more, because you realize you're not broken, you're buried. And beneath all the lies, the fear, the trauma, is a version of you the world hasn't seen yet. This is the threshold. The line in the sand where the old story ends and the real one begins. Not the story of perfection, but the story of power. But make no mistake, this moment is a crossroads. Most people run from it. They choose comfort, familiar pain, predictable disappointment. But not you, because the moment everything changes is the moment you finally decide. Not when life gets easier, not when fear disappears, but when you get tired of living small in a world that desperately needs your fire. The moment everything changes is the moment you remember you were never meant to blend in. You were born to break through. 5. Your pain has a blueprint. What if I told you your pain isn't random? What if the very thing you're trying to escape is actually the thing trying to awaken you? See, most people think pain is punishment. They believe they're being broken down. But what if you're being broken open? Every betrayal you survived, every door that slammed shut in your face, every night you cried alone wondering if anyone would notice if you disappeared, none of it was meaningless. Because pain doesn't just hurt, it informs. It points you somewhere. It carves you into someone. It reveals what matters most to you and what you were born to fight for. There's a blueprint inside your pain, not one written in logic, but in emotion, in scars, in moments that shattered your illusions and made you question everything. That heartbreak, it taught you what love should never feel like. That failure, it showed you what you actually care about. That moment of abandonment, it ignited your hunger to never let anyone feel unseen again. None of this was wasted. Your pain was preparing you, positioning you, and yes, protecting you. You just didn't know how to read it. Because nobody taught you that pain could be instruction. That inside every wound is a code. And when you decode it, you discover your mission, your message, your edge. The world doesn't need people who had it easy. The world needs people who turned agony into empathy, disaster into direction, chaos into calling. You are not off track. You're not broken. You are becoming. But here's the catch. This blueprint doesn't unfold on autopilot. You have to lean into it. You have to stop asking, why me? And start asking, what now? Your pain isn't your prison, it's your path. It's been mapping your way home all along. And once you stop resisting it, you'll realize you were never being punished. You were being prepared. 6. Unlocking the hidden identity. Somewhere along the way, you became someone you never intended to be. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken, but because you were trying to survive. You became the version of you that wouldn't be rejected. The one who kept quiet to keep the peace. The one who smiled when you were shattered. The one who hid your fire so you wouldn't make anyone uncomfortable. And slowly, piece by piece, you buried your real identity beneath masks. The mask of the achiever, the people pleaser, the nice one, the strong one, the one who has it all together. But deep down, you know that's not you. You feel the tension, the heaviness, the misalignment. You look in the mirror and don't fully recognize who's staring back. Because the real you is suffocating under expectation. Let me say this as clearly as I can. You were not born to be a watered-down version of yourself. That false identity you've been clinging to, it's not protection, it's prison. And the longer you wear it, the more you lose sight of who you actually are. The person who's bold, wild, visionary, empathetic, fierce. The one who speaks the truth, even when it shakes the room. The one who feels deeply and loves loudly. The one who knows they're meant for more. But to reclaim that version of you, something has to die. And it's not your potential, it's the need to be liked. It's the fear of what people will think. It's the belief that playing small is safe. You don't need another strategy right now. You need a funeral for the identity that was never yours to begin with. Because here's the truth. Who you are underneath the trauma, the fear, the pressure, the guilt is extraordinary. But that version of you can only be unlocked by radical honesty. You've got to ask, who am I really? Who would I be if I wasn't afraid? What have I abandoned in order to fit in? You were born original. Stop dying a copy. This world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more real. More people willing to tear off the mask and become who they were before the world told them who to be. You don't need fixing. You need remembering. And once you unlock your real identity, your power will no longer feel like a theory. It'll feel like home. 7. The power you forgot you had. You think you're powerless? Let me remind you, you've already survived the storm. You've been broken and still showed up. You've cried yourself to sleep and still got out of bed. You felt like giving up and still kept going. That isn't weakness. That's power most people can't even comprehend. You didn't just survive, you endured what should have shattered you. And here's the part you keep forgetting. The same force that carried you through hell still lives inside you. You don't need to go searching for your power, you need to wake it up. You need to remember who the hell you are beneath all the doubt, all the noise, all the fear. You weren't built to just exist. You were built to rise. Your power isn't loud, it's steady. It's in the quiet moments when you choose growth over comfort. It's in the days you show up when everything inside screams quit. It's in the moment you finally say no more. The world conditioned you to believe you're broken, that you need fixing, healing, permission. But the truth is you're not missing anything. You were just taught to doubt what's already there. Remember that time you thought it was the end, but you kept breathing? That wasn't luck, that was you. Remember that day you couldn't see a way out, but still chose to believe something better was possible? That wasn't coincidence, that was power. This isn't about pretending you're okay. This is about realizing that even in the moments you weren't okay, you still had the power to choose again. Power isn't about confidence or status. It's about taking your pain and turning it into purpose. It's about owning your story, even the parts you never wanted to tell. Because every scar has a message. Every breakdown held the blueprint for a breakthrough. Every time life tried to silence you, it actually exposed your strength. You're not here to be small. You're not here to be average. You're not here to be perfect. You are here to be powerful. And that power, it's not hiding. It's just buried under years of lies, fear, and forgetting. So now in this moment, you have a choice to keep playing weak or to finally reclaim what was always yours. You've already proven how strong you are. Now it's time to own it. 8. The cost of staying small. Every day you choose to stay small, you're making a decision whether you realize it or not. You're choosing comfort over calling. You're choosing silence over self-expression. You're choosing to dim your light so the world doesn't feel too uncomfortable. But what's the real cost? It's not just about dreams deferred. It's about life unlived. It's the relationships you never build because you're too afraid to be seen. It's the career you never pursue because you doubt you're good enough. It's the confidence you never develop because you keep waiting for permission. Every time you play small, a part of you dies quietly, and you feel it. That deep gnawing emptiness, that whisper in your soul that says there's more. You've heard it, you've ignored it, but it never really goes away, does it? That whisper is your truth begging you to rise. Staying small doesn't keep you safe. It keeps you stuck. It robs you of the joy of becoming who you really are. It leaves you watching other people live the life you secretly crave, not because they're more talented, but because they decided. Here's the truth. Regret weighs more than fear. You can face the discomfort of growth now, or you can carry the crushing burden of what could have been for the rest of your life. There's no neutral path. You're either stepping into your power, or slowly erasing yourself. And the longer you wait, the more of you disappears. Not because you're incapable, but because you forgot how to believe in what's possible. You were not born to be invisible. You were not designed to shrink. You were born to take up space, to speak, to lead, to create, to love, to impact. But every second you wait, every moment you hesitate, someone else's life goes untouched because you stayed small. What will it cost you to keep hiding? And more importantly, what will it cost the world if you never show up as who you really are? 9. Choosing your greater life. There comes a moment, a real moment, where you stop waiting. You stop hoping life will magically get better. You stop replaying the pain, the mistakes, the missed chances, and you decide. You decide to design your life instead of drifting through it. Most people never make that decision. They live by default, doing what's expected, what's safe, what's familiar. They let fear shape their future. They let pain define their identity. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of themselves before they start living fully. But you're not here for default. You were born for design, for a life built by intention. And that kind of life doesn't come from waiting. It comes from choosing. Choosing to speak truth instead of hiding. Choosing to love yourself even when it's messy. Choosing to break the pattern that's been holding your family back for generations. Choosing to say, it ends with me. This isn't about pretending the pain didn't happen. It's about refusing to let it write the next chapter. You are not what happened to you. You are what you do next. You can keep dragging your past into your future, or you can bury the old story and pick up the pen. Right here, right now. You have permission to let go of who you were and step into who you were always meant to be. It won't feel comfortable. It won't feel easy, but it will feel right. Because deep down, you've always known there's a greater life calling you, a life that feels like you. But that life won't chase you. You have to choose it, claim it, step toward it with the kind of courage most people only talk about. So I'll ask you, no fluff, no filter. Are you going to keep living a life that isn't yours? Or are you finally ready to choose the one that is? 10. The beginning of becoming. This isn't the end. This is the beginning. The moment your pain stops defining you and starts refining you. The moment the ashes of everything you thought broke you become the ground you rise from. Maybe you've been told you're too damaged, too broken, too late. But let me tell you something with every ounce of certainty I have. That was never the truth. The truth is you were born for something greater. Not a life of survival. Not a life of silence. Not a life where you carry everyone else's expectations while your own soul withers in the dark. You were born for a life that makes you come alive. A life that feels honest, whole, free. But becoming that person, it won't happen by accident. It starts with one choice, one moment, this moment. You don't need to know every step. You just need to take the next one. Because clarity doesn't come before the leap, it comes through it. Becoming isn't about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you were before the world taught you to shrink, before life taught you to settle, before fear taught you to fake it. It's about remembering, and then becoming it out loud. You've got one life, not a rehearsal, not a draft. This is it. So don't just nod along. Don't just feel the fire in your chest and then go back to your routine. Let this be the break in your pattern. Let this be the day you said enough. Enough hiding. Enough waiting. Enough pretending. The life you were born for isn't waiting years down the road. It's waiting on the other side of your next brave decision. So go. Not with fear. Not with shame. But with the fire of knowing. You were born for something greater. And today you start living like it. Like this video, if you've ever felt broken but still kept going, comment below. I'm ready to rise from my pain. Subscribe for weekly mindset transformations and deep emotional breakthroughs. Share this video with one friend who needs healing right now. Join the movement. You were never meant to stay broken.